I am back in my home studio. I am now home for the first time in a month. I was gone for a full month, which is very crazy considering that I still have 4 kids living at home. One's in college, one's in cancer college, and I still have 4 at home. You can't be gone for a month in that situation, but I was in Memphis at St. Jude's, and just things worked out such that I couldn't do it. I couldn't get home. So it's very crazy to be back, and there's a lot, and I feel just ever so slightly crushed by life. Just a touch of the, I can't do this, I'm drowning. Just a little touch. And so I think the main topic for today is going to be a little kind of phrase that I have adopted since the October diagnosis that I use when my need to not die is in conflict with my family's needs of my presence. And I know a lot of you feel that. You don't have to be in the, atom bomb on your life situation that I'm in to just feel that feeling of like, I need to just like lock myself in my room for a full 24 hours and have no noise and have no stimulation and have no one speak to me. I mean, you guys know, like when I had little kids, one time I watched a documentary about a maximum security prison, and this guy built a shiv and he stabbed someone in the prison yard and he got thrown into solitary confinement. And I was like, man, some people have all the luck. Like, look at, that's amazing. Does he gets a book in there? Like, I didn't know this was an option for my life. This is honestly incredible. No one's talking to him. No one's asking him for anything. No one's like spilling things all over him. This is a good life. I don't maybe want to live there forever, but like, could I get a week? Is it too much to ask for? Who do I need to shiv to make this happen in my life? So in almost any season of life, I mean, I know people who are empty nesters and still they've got their own stuff going on, but your adult children need you and you're trying to help them and your spouse needs you. And a lot of times when you're in that phase of life, then you're taking care of your parents and they need you. So it really, in any phase of life, you can end up in this situation. And I have really developed, it's one little handy phrase that you can just kind of stick in your back pocket, and it will help you when you are in those moments and you just feel like this is a lot. So that is the main topic on this podcast. I do set up for an inappropriately long amount of time. I set up like what we're going to, that's like half the podcast is me talking about what we're going to talk about. So that's set up, if that's the main topic. We always get to the main topic in the second half, the latter half of the show. So we will talk about that. We are also going to talk about the medical advice, don't Google it. You hear that like, oh, you have a weird symptom, don't Google it. They'll tell you have cancer. And I've been reflecting a lot on what do I think about that advice now. And I think a lot about just how I can use my situation to help you guys. And I've really been pondering, how can you, if God forbid, a medical bad thing might come up to someone and I so sincerely pray it never does, but just if it happens, how can you, on the one hand, not be a paranoid hypochondriac whose sanity is slowly going down the drain, but then also, if God forbid something serious does happen, that you can catch it early and be on top of it. Because that's something people don't think about is like, I have a husband and 5 other kids, and it's like there's no rule that says only one person's going to get the horrible disease, and so it's like if another kid has some medical symptom, it just stresses you out. And the other day I had a weird pain in my abdomen, and it used to be, because I'm a high-strung person, so I would naturally think this is like the worst kind of cancer known to man for sure. But I have learned to deal with intrusive thoughts. That tends to come with our ADHD personalities. I listen to some good books on intrusive thoughts. And so I learned, I was like, okay, that's an intrusive thought. So I just let that thought be there. I don't engage with it. I don't talk to it. It's like, just let it pass. And that's really like, I mean, I read like 10 books on dealing with intrusive thoughts, and that's all there is to know. I just saved you reading those books. So I had gotten good at that. Okay. It's like, I have hypochondriac tendencies, and it's probably nothing. Well, now, sometimes the intrusive thoughts are right, is what I'm learning. So now we're back to square one. And so, yeah, it's like, on the one hand, I don't want to spiral into fixating on health and just, ruining my doctor's life with all of my theories about what might be wrong with me or other kids or whatever. So I think I found a good balance there. I'm going to talk to you guys about that. And I have a couple of just delightful media clips, and I said trip because my daughter Lucy is she's on a school trip right now, and it's a big thing. It's like, this was a really big deal. The class is going to Europe, and we really wanted to make that happen for her. It was actually surprisingly affordable as these things go, but my mom helped us out because she. It's Lucy's senior year. So Lucy is my third child. So Lane is her immediately older sister. And the two of them are very close. So, and it's her senior year. And I have not been here a whole lot. I have missed a lot of her senior year. A lot. Because of the stuff with Lane. So we said, you know what? She's got to be able to do this Europe trip, because I mean, she kind of takes over my role while I'm gone, because she's the oldest kid in the house now. So she's taking her little siblings to events. She's helping with dinner. I mean, not only has she not had her mom around for probably more than half of her senior year, I mean, definitely more than half, but she has also had to do additional work to just things that I might help with, because Joe is doing a great job, but he's only one person. So, and normally my mom is a big help. She lives near us, and you can imagine getting a kid ready to go to Europe when it's just dad at the house managing a bunch of other kids. Well, she's in Europe right now as you hear this, and let's just say a prayer that it all works out. So I'm going to tell you guys about that, and see, now we're done with setup. And then I give you the summary of what this show is, and then we go into the topics. That's how this works. All right, this is the Jen Fulwiler Show, coming to you this time from Austin, Texas. That is my home. But due to the cancer situation, a lot of times I am broadcasting from Memphis. So we are a Memphis and Austin-based podcast, but I am back in Austin right now. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss, who knows that love and family and faith, I'm going to add that, and faith and community are the foundations of all true success. We publish new episodes every Wednesday, very dedicated to that. And Caitlin White is our lovely producer. And as we transition now into the main topics, so I just got home after a month, and something truly ridiculous happened when I got home that I just told Caitlin about. You guys, my life is, it's genuinely so stupid. You will find it very funny because it's so stupid. And when I say something that would only happen to me, I cannot emphasize the extent to which that is true. Now, I am putting it on the Patreon after party. That is after, on Patreon, we have a few different things going on, but one thing that everyone who joins at any level has access to is we just keep the cameras rolling and do kind of an extension of each podcast episode for the after party. And I know for the, if you're not yet part of the community, you might think, oh, Jen, come on, just don't, come on, tell us. I really can't. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, this is not, I promise you, I am not above doing, saving some tantalizing things for Patreon to just, share with that community. I definitely feel kind of an intimacy with that community, get more people over there. I'm not above it. I'm not saying that I am. But also, this is not one of those times. Truly, we have a situation here. And I can't even hint at what it is about because I need to shut my mouth and stop causing problems in my life, but I can't fully shut my mouth. So it's going to be on Patreon. So patreon.com/thisisjen. That is where you get bonus content from this show. I truly love the Patreon system. And by the way, they make it very easy to unsubscribe. I am a member. I've been a member off and on of different things. Like there was some fantasy football stuff. I was a member of their Patreon. They gave me horrible advice. I came in basically last in both of my leagues. And it's like 2 clicks to unsubscribe. So if you ever want to join, it's one of those things. If you decide that this membership doesn't make sense for you, if you're like, the content is too good, it's blowing my mind too much, you can always unsubscribe. It's very easy. And just sincerely, I love that community. They are helping me get through this crisis. And I love you guys who are part of the community. And it's a big help to me on so many different levels. Patreon.com/This is Jen, and you'll hear and if you're hearing this later, the title will say After Party for episode, is it 289?
Yes.
So you can search 289 if you're hearing this, weeks and weeks later. You search for 289 once you join the Patreon, and you'll find the After Party where I will tell you what happened. Okay. I've been wanting to say this to you guys for a while because I really believe, I feel like God, I don't know, put it on my heart or something. That I just feel like what I am about to say could have a big impact on one of my 5 YouTube viewers' lives at some point. One of the 5 of you could be impacted by this at some point in the future. Just tuck this away. I hope that this will never be relevant to you at any point in your life. But so my Facebook feed is now... So because I search on medulloblastoma a lot, I follow a few of the medulloblastoma parents. I follow, I'm part of the St. Jude Families Facebook groups. And I was thinking of you guys. I was thinking of you a few days ago because it was late at night. I'm scrolling Facebook and I almost threw my phone across the room because it was another story. Facebook, they recommend random posts to you that it just, they think that you would like. It's like, you love cancer, so I think you'll like this story. In this case, it was an adult. It was like a 34-year-old guy, married, super healthy, goes to the gym, all that. And he was just telling the story of his diagnosis. It ended up being leukemia or whatever. But I almost threw my phone across the room because he told the story of, I had swollen lymph nodes and I didn't cough, basically kind of flu symptoms. That makes sense that the doctors just thought it was the flu, sent him home with antibiotics. But then he still had symptoms. It's like he got better for a few days, but then he still had symptoms. Long story short, this dude's lymph nodes were he could feel very swollen for 8 weeks, maybe 12 weeks before somebody finally biopsied them and was like, oh, it's cancer. Yeah, actually. And this might have been it might have been more like 5 months or something. It was crazy. And it just made me want to throw my phone out the window because I've just heard so many stories like this. And by the way, the guy's going to be okay. They did catch it before it got too out of control. He's in treatment. He's going to be fine. And I think that's one of the reasons I just want to share this with you. This is my little public service announcement. Please tuck this away, just in case. It could be 30 years from now that this will come to mind for you, but just tuck this away for the future. We're all so worried about what the worst case scenario could be. What if it's the C word? Well, now that I am part of that community, one of the things I've come to see is that so many, I think it's fair to say the vast majority of cancers are treatable on some level. Some have better cure rates than others, but there are a couple, but there are very few cancers that it's when you get the diagnosis, it's, there's not a lot they can do. They exist, but they're very rare. Normally, even if you get the bad diagnosis, there is something that can be done. And the earlier you get on it, the better. And certainly when it comes to our children, it's every parent's worst nightmare that it would be something bad if your kid has symptoms. So yeah, we don't want to Google it. We don't want to go into that dark, territory. But I will tell you, just to, be vulnerable for a moment. I struggle with, I feel like we maybe could have found this a few weeks sooner if I had a different policy, and I just struggle. I struggle with regret. And I think I've done a decent job of turning it over to God. Like, there's nothing you can do about the past. I've also tried to say, you know what? We got into MD Anderson and then St. Jude's. And maybe if we had caught it sooner, it wouldn't have played out that way, because like if she had the brain surgery in College Station, I think they use sporks instead of scalpels. I'm just kidding. I'm from an old Aggie family. I can make fun of College Station in Texas A&M. But that could have been bad, spork, brain surgery. So that's how I've sort of made peace with it, that maybe who knows, maybe that was actually God leading us, the right direction. Okay. But suffice it to say, I do feel like one of the ways I can bring good out of my difficulty is by maybe helping someone who would need this in the future. My new policy for how to, if you're going to face something that's difficult, find it early enough that you're on it and you've got odds are in your favor and all that. But again, not live your life in paranoia where you just every day it's a new symptom or whatever. Here is my new policy. I am telling my children this. I will tell my grandchildren this. It's going to be carved in stone. I tell people who don't ask this. I tell people in line at the grocery store this, because somehow it often comes up that I'm a cancer mom. I was okay. This is the most me thing ever. Okay, I was getting Botox the other day because, hey, self-care. I'm a caretaker. Self-care, guys. Botox is half price in Memphis. Let us not say that God doesn't give us things that help us get through. And I was telling them this. So this is my new policy that I tell everyone. If you or someone has a symptom that has not gone away in 2 weeks, at that point, you need to Google and find out, all right, what's the worst case scenario? Okay, let's just get it out there. Could this be melanoma, brain tumor, whatever? Find out what the worst case scenario is and insist on being tested for it. Insist. And sometimes you have to, do wild things to get those tests done in a timely manner. I don't know. Like if I had this policy, it would have been back in August. I would take Lane to the ER and I would bring 2 pairs of handcuffs and I would handcuff both of us to the hospital, the ER bed, and be like, we're not leaving until she gets an MRI. So there, and then I'd be like, oh, but they can't get us into the MRI machine because now we're handcuffed to the bed. But you see what I'm saying? Like you might have to think outside of the box, really be emphatic with medical professionals to get that test to rule out the worst case scenario. But then you can sleep at night. Like, okay, we biopsied the lymph nodes. We did the blood test for, leukemia or whatever. Like we did the, I don't like the MRI if it's brain tumor. If I had that policy, it would have been mid-August is when I would have said, okay, she's been having headaches. Not every day. That was the other weird thing. It wasn't every day. And so she'd have 2 good days and then, oh, she kind of had a headache again. That's, if I had that policy, it would have been mid-August that I would have said, okay, this hasn't gone away for 2 weeks. So you know what? I'm just going to insist on an MRI and then we'll rule out the crazy stuff. Obviously, it wouldn't be a brain tumor. And then we can just all sleep peacefully at night. So that's what you're going to remember. You can, so that you don't become a hypochondriac, just, and I do hope everyone is taking medical advice from me. I mean, I am the one, this is the podcast where you want to get all your medical advice. But if it's something weird, like a sore throat that's not lymph nodes, like, don't let it go past 2 weeks without going ahead and seeing what WebMD says the worst case scenario is. Then find out, how do you test for that, whatever worst case scenario diagnosis this could be. Insist on getting that test. Don't let that go more than 2 weeks, because my Facebook feed is full of people who are in a bigger fight than they would have otherwise been in if they had just followed that policy. It's a good policy. So will you remember it? You need to remember that, Caitlin.
Yeah, I'm thinking I need to go to the doctor.
What? Yeah. No, well, Caitlin had her tortilla chip injury a while back. So Caitlin wasn't able to participate in a race because she bit into a tortilla chip. So you should have checked for, I don't know, you're susceptible to tortilla chip attacks. I mean, that took forever to go away. Yeah. And by the way, that was right after Lane was diagnosed. And I'm like, what is wrong with us? Caitlin's out of commission from a tortilla chip. We have brain tumors. What is going on over here? So, because this is the last thing I'll say before I move on to the next topic. It is just crazy how many stories I hear of oh yeah, I had this massive growth coming out of my rib cage, or my kid did, or whatever. And anyway, 7 months later, we were diagnosed. I'm like, 7 months? What? So yes, Google it. After 2 weeks, yes, it's time to Google it. It's time to get the test. Yes. Okay. So, all right. Is everyone, it's going in the vault? Okay. Put it in the vault sound effect. Okay. What is it like returning home after a month? It is, so I've told you guys before, I have the concept of re-entry, meaning anytime you come home after you've been away on a trip, there is this period that my mom friends and we just call it re-entry, and sometimes we'll send a one-word text, re-entry. It's just, and we get it. It's just oh, that's a lot. It's just that trying to get your routines back, trying to deal with the mess. You have all this extra stuff. I need to unpack. I need to get everyone back on a schedule, get into a system, and it's just always chaos. It's always difficult, and it's always and it's difficult for me, especially because it's not like I'm crushing it domestically when we don't have a massive medical crisis unfolding at our feet. I'm never doing great on the keeping the house tidy and keeping everything organized. And the other day I saw a video that really spoke to my heart. That I think helped me understand. It just really spoke to my heart, and it really deeply helped me give myself grace, as they say, as the Protestants say. It helped me give myself grace and understand what is really at the root of the fact that it's always hard for me to keep up with domestic things, but then you combine that with I'm coming home after a month, and it's, I've got to unpack on top of, there's a million things that need my attention. And Caitlin, I think you'll know which video I'm referring to. Oh, yeah. This way, it really spoke to my heart, and I wanted to play it for you.
I'm not domestic. Okay. This is why God bless me. You know what I'm saying? This is why God blessed me and made me rich and famous, because he knows that I'm not domestic and I'm not meant to be in the kitchen. I was meant to hire chefs. This is not my lifestyle.
Okay. So that is actually Cardi B. You really need to see the video of that and see what she is wearing and how amazing her hair looks. In every episode in the show notes, if you're listening on audio, you can click on a link. It takes you to this exact episode on YouTube. You can watch it totally for free. This is episode 289. You really need to see this video. And it spoke to my heart.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that way?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think you have to understand. There is a phenomenon that happens in the world, and I can't defend this in detail theologically, but I do know that it is true that some of us were meant to be extremely rich and have 10 full-time staff members at least, chefs, chauffeurs, like the downstairs staff on Downton Abbey. And there's been a terrible cosmic mix-up and we're poor and don't have any of that. And it's a cross that we have to carry, that we were meant to hire people to do the cooking and the cleaning. And the thing is, Caitlin, we're business women. You could have 10 staff members.
Oh, I could have, yeah.
Yeah. No, and here's the thing. Not everybody wants that. Like my mom actually wouldn't want that. She enjoys just cleaning herself. Like she does have housekeepers actually, but never mind. What am I talking? My mom was like a mathematician. She was CFO of her. Okay, never mind. My mom's a horrible example. Couldn't care less about cooking. Yeah, never mind. But there are women like the trad wives I follow on Instagram who, okay, also a bad example. Like, yeah, they definitely love their lives. That's why I have to hear about how much they love their lives 10 times a day on Instagram. I love beheading chickens all day. And like, that's the life for me. Okay, but I don't know who they are, okay? Just because I've never met them doesn't mean they don't exist. There are women who, we talk about blue flame a lot on this podcast. Their passion, the thing that they are good at. I have to know at least, let me think. No, who do we know? Caitlin, we know some of the same people. I mean, Chapel is kind of.
Maybe a little.
Well, yeah, no. Okay, well, we're going to think of someone. Just hang on. I have to know someone. Okay. Oh, Catherine Whitaker. Okay, you haven't met her. Okay, look up Team Whitaker on Instagram. She keeps her house so beautiful, and it's like a Pinterest house. And I mean, I have stopped by her house unexpectedly, and it still looks like that. And she'll be like, "Pardon the mess," and it's like 2 pairs of shoes are on the floor. I'm like, my house has never looked this good, and it will never look this good. And she's not like, doesn't mean that as a flex. Sincerely, she's like, I'm so sorry. I would have cleaned up. It's crazy. So she is good at that, beautifying the home. I think she has a lot of talent. She actually has a radio show on SiriusXM. She's a multi-talented woman, but I do think one of her blue flames is making her home a beautiful place. And frankly, I don't know if she would enjoy having 10 staff members to do all this sort of thing for her. That might not be her thing. She might not enjoy that. I'd be so good at it. I'm good. I'm a good manager. I'm good at organizing people. Okay, that was a very long tangent. But okay, now that you know that it's Cardi B, just play that one more time. That crying about, this is why God made me rich and famous. I'm crying with her because I'm like, literally the same. The same, girl, same. Why? But why did God not? Why do she gets rich and famous? I get kid with cancer. Like what? Okay, play the clip.
I'm not domestic. Okay, this is why God bless me. You know what I'm saying? This is why God blessed me and made me rich and famous, because he knows that I'm not domestic and I'm not meant to be in the kitchen. I was meant to hire chefs, because this is not my lifestyle.
And it is for her own safety. She goes back to cutting a cucumber. She's holding it vertically, standing it up. She has her hands around it, but she's putting a sharp knife going down into the cucumber. And you're like, yeah, no, I agree with you. For the safety of yourself and others, you should not be in the kitchen. And same. So you have to understand that reentry is always going to be harder for me, because it's not like we're not starting at a good baseline, you know? And the other thing is that St. Jude's, this incredible organization that cannot be explained other than just God having his hand directly on this organization, the apartment that they have put us up in there is so beautiful. It is this beautifully decorated in these cool, like cream and blue tones apartment. Everything is brand new, the nicest facilities. Lane has her own room and her own bathroom. And then my mom and I share a room. It's a nice big room. We have a nice TV in there. And then we have our own bathroom. There's a living room. There's a full kitchen. And again, this is nice. Like if you were apartment hunting and you saw a video of this and you didn't know what it was, you'd be like, I'd like to live there. Yeah, that's great. It's wonderful. And hit the tangent alert sound effect. It's nice to have our
actual.
Yeah, it's nice to have our space age high tech sound effects back. I love the view from our Memphis apartment. I love everything about our Memphis apartment because we just moved in relatively recently. It's clean. It's tidy, Caitlin. There's no clutter because we just moved, and it's just like the fridge doesn't have leftovers in it that have been there so long. They have become sentient life and they growl at you when you open the door. It's like I can see what's in the fridge. It's not like overcrowded in this like you feel like you're suffocating with just like all this stuff and everything. But no, it's like beautiful. Okay, so the view. You know what I realized is if you have to be in cancer housing, the view, you don't want a view that would make you remember the life you're missing out on, that like you yearn to be part of what you're seeing. Like, for example, if we had like a cool view of the New York City streets or something, that would be kind of depressing because Lane still can't walk. She can a little bit with a walker, but not more than a few feet at a time. And she really struggles with that. And so, you know, if we see people her age like hopping around and bopping around, that would be depressing. Like, oh, you know, I wish she could be part of that. Or if we looked out on some beautiful mountain and you see people hiking, or like a lake and you see, you know, people on the hike and bike trail riding bikes. Actually, she wouldn't want any of that, but still it would remind you that she's having trouble walking. But we have the most delightful view of the Memphis hood. And it's so wonderful because we look out at like the main Memphis bus stop, and there's a like discount liquor store right across from it. There is crime there every day. There's like the cops are always there. I'm not kidding. I don't think I've seen a day that the cops and the fire trucks and all that are not over there. So I got us, you guys, I'm not kidding, I got us binoculars so that we could watch the crime at the Memphis bus stop. And I really want you to think about this for a moment. Is there a better view if you have cancer and you're battling this very difficult diagnosis? I mean, it's like there's nothing, you know, there's something interesting going on. It's like someone is, you know, oh, he's screaming at a pole again. Yeah, he was screaming at a pole yesterday. That's so fun. And so there's no like yearning to be a part of what you're seeing, but it's entertaining. But it makes you happy to be inside. And it rains a lot in Memphis. And so it's like, you know, someone yelling at a pole, just threatening to stab a few people. And then now the cops are here. Now everyone's yelling. And now the fire truck shows up and it's raining. And you're like, I am so happy that we can't realistically leave this apartment. Who needs to walk, you know? So we have our beautiful view of the hood, and I love it. I genuinely, Memphis is growing on me. I will say that. I like Memphis a lot. But I just thought that was a funny thing, that if you thought of like, what would your perfect view be? It kind of depends on your circumstances. And if you're battling cancer and you can't walk, yeah, you want to look out at the Memphis bus stop. I think that's the best view you could possibly ask for. Okay. So, reentry has, it has been hard. And we're kind of slowly transitioning toward the main topic of that phrase that I use when it's like, I need to preserve my relationships with the people who I love most in the world, but I am maxed out. I'm tapping out. Like I can't do this. So ultimately I'm going to tell you what my little phrase is and we'll get to that. But so coming back, it definitely feels like a lot that I have been gone for a month. Joe is doing great work trying to keep on top of everything, but like he is a dad. He's a guy's guy. You know, it's not the same having dad run the house. And so I came back and we always drive. So with stops and everything, it's a 10-hour drive. So I drive 10 hours from Memphis to Austin, and I come back and it's like, you always end up bringing stuff with you, like some winter clothes I brought back. And it's like, there's all this packing that needs to be done. But then I look and I'm like, oh, I don't have a space to put this stuff. Cause like in the bathroom, we have a small bathroom and Joe has moved some stuff around. There's not space for me to take my stuff out. And yes, of course I can make space, but it's like, I just get blocked on it and I end up sitting in bed and scrolling TikTok because it's like I'm just so overwhelmed. And then there are the things that, you know, once I get home, Joe will take me aside and be like, all right, here are the things I didn't want to tell you while you were gone because I didn't want to stress you out. But we have this problem and this problem and this problem and this. And it's like, oh my gosh, what? And just all of the challenges and just, you know, just the normal life, difficult stuff that we have going on at home, that all descends on you. It's not that I didn't know about it when I was in Memphis, but it just hits you when you're back. And I've mentioned before, we have another situation going on. There are two things I can't talk about. One I'm talking about on Patreon later. This is not that. That's just the thing that happened this past week that I'm talking about on the Patreon after party today. But I've mentioned before that there's kind of a bigger, broad situation that will be in 5 years. I will be able to tell you guys about it. And I know it's annoying to allude to things that you're not going into detail about. I recognize that, but I just need you guys to know there's a separate situation that's like, if that were my only problem, people would be like, I don't know how you're handling the stress. And I have to do a 5-year, like I can't talk about it right now, but let me tell you, the 2031 Jen Fulwiler show is going to be ridiculous. It's going to get the highest ratings ever because I'll be like, here's what happened. Here's what happened in 2025, and here's the thing that I couldn't talk about. But so there's this very stressful thing, and so that kind of tends to, you know, when I get back, there's just all this stuff, and so this leads to one of the mantras that I have had for a while that I actually got from Joe is he actually picked this up from a lot of Ivy League people. They just kind of have, I don't know, different ideas about life management and stuff like that. And one of the things that I've noticed about his friends from that world is they're very big on protecting their mental energy. It's like, if I'm not in a state where I can think clearly and make maximum good decisions, then I need to fix that before anything. And I've really picked that up from that. I guess because, like, if you go to an Ivy League school, you learn to reward your brain. Like, it's gotten you a lot of places in life. But I do think it's a good, it's a really good and helpful principle to say, that's what separates us from the animals. I mean, that's like when God made us in his image, it's like the ability to use your brain, not just do grunt work. Like, oh, it's part of my atomic habits that I said I'd mop the floor before I do my ice bath. And it's like just getting all your grunt work done, but rather saying, you know what? If I don't sleep in an extra couple hours tomorrow, then mentally I'm not going to be at my best. And that's ultimately how you win. That's how you get out of bad situations. That it's like you need that mental energy. You need your full brain power. You need that creative energy. And so I used to have more of the mentality of like, you just gotta push through. That's how, that's how you solve problems. But I picked that up from Joe and his friends, that idea of, no, my first priority should be doing whatever I need to do to get myself in a space where I can get my maximum brain potential, my maximum problem solving potential, my maximum creativity. And if that means that I have to sleep in a little bit instead of skipping it, like instead of going to the gym or the ice bath or whatever, then yeah, I'm going to do that because I need my brain to be able to make good decisions. So that was a tangent sound effect. So Joe has always said a big mantra: don't think about your problems when you're tired. And how is this podcast free? I mean, we've got we're curing cancer over here, or at least helping you detect it early. Tips on just how to manage your life when you're stressed and tired. Don't think about your problems when you're tired. I am so glad that Joe really put this in my head, because in the situation that I am currently in, I have noticed, and I've noticed this since I've been home, being gone for a month. And oddly, it's like the cancer situation feels more stressful when I am here rather than when I'm at St. Jude's. I guess because when I see Lane every day, it just feels like, all right, we're doing it. We're at St. Jude's. We're seeing the doctors. Like we're fighting this. But when I'm here, it just gives me that space. Anyway, it's a lot of stress. I don't want to go into it because then I'm going to spiral. But having more space to think about the big picture is not a good thing. It adds stress to my life. And then there's the stress of home. There's just the physical, oh my gosh, there's this huge pile of clothes that I didn't go through before I left. And then now I've got all this stuff to unpack and just little things like, I have to do this appointment and that appointment and certain things that I can only do at home. And it's like, everything feels like it is collapsing on me. And luckily, I have recognized the pattern that I tend to feel most catastrophic at night. And I say this as a night owl. Normally, it's my time to shine. After the clock strikes 10, I am ready to go. I love to be up all night. And that's still true. I do always get my second wind around 10 p.m., but there is an accumulation of stress that happens where I'm actually trying to train myself to go to bed a little earlier, even if I have to knock myself out with melatonin. I feel like some 1950s movie star. I'm popping pills to go to sleep and then having caffeine in the morning. It feels very glamorous, that's absolutely the wrong way to think of it. But I am glad that I have known that phrase, don't think about your problems when you're tired, and that I can recognize when I feel like the entire world is collapsing around me, nothing is working, God's not on my side. It's not that God has abandoned me. He hasn't abandoned me. He's focused on sending bad things my way, which, by the way, I don't believe. It's just these are the things that you get into. These are the thought patterns when you're tired. And just nothing works out for me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm starting to recognize, I'm like, Okay, so you think there's no hope in your life, only bad things happen to you. You're a loser, you're terrible, whatever. Is it after 11 p.m.? If so, this could be an accumulation of the day's stress that even if you're a night owl, you have your limits. And in fact, I debated whether to show you this, but so I leave video messages with my best friend, Leah Darrow. We're always video messaging each other all day, every day. And I actually left this message for her last night. And this is a private message just to Leah. I'm like, no makeup on. I want you can sort of tell I'm sitting on the toilet in this video. I had my clothes on. Okay. I'm not the like leaving video messages. Yeah. No. I had clothes on. I just don't have a lot of privacy in this house because of all the reasons I just mentioned. So the place I can get privacy is in my bathroom. So this is just so you know what happens to my mind when a whole day's worth of stress accumulates. This was the actual message that I did not intend to share with anyone that I left for Leah last night.
I feel crushed by life these days in the evenings. I'm like, there's only so much stress one person can take. And I reached that level of stress at like 3:42 p.m. today. And it's now, 10:50 p.m. And I don't care anymore at this point. I've been defeated, and like don't care anymore in a like I'm being detached, zen, like in a like you win, all of you, everyone, all of my foes, all of my the medical maladies, everything else. Like you guys won, yeah, you did. I defeat, yeah, no, I lose. That's how I feel in the evenings.
I left that message for Leah at 11 p.m. last night. And so I've recognized when I feel that way, it's time to stop thinking about my problems. It's time to do something else. Frankly, I defend scrolling as a decent option. If you are so maxed out that you just can't do anything productive, all the things you quote unquote should do, your brain, it stopped working hours ago. Like you're just done. Just scroll and try to train your little algorithm so that it's showing you positive things and you're not being rage baited. But anything is better than thinking about your problems when you're tired. I mean, yeah, sure. Nobody wants to spend too many hours out of their life mindlessly scrolling, but it's better that mindlessly scrolling is a step up from thinking about your problems when you're tired, because you will just end up in a really, really bad place. And it's not like you wake up the next day once you've gotten some sleep and you're like, those aren't even real problems. Oh no, it's not that. I mean, don't get me wrong, your life still sucks, but you feel more equipped to handle it. It's just, you are, when you are rested, you're getting the full creative power of your brain to start tackling these things, finding creative solutions, listening to the voice of God. Because your head gets very noisy when you're tired. And it's harder to hear the voice of God, I think. And it's easier for your yapping, intrusive thoughts to drown out the voice of God when you're tired. And so at least when you've gotten a little bit of sleep, you can say, okay, maybe a couple of these things might have a solution. Now, before I end this topic, I know at least a couple people are thinking, Jen, I'm always tired. I'm always tired. I don't know what it's like not to be tired. I would like to submit that's your only problem. You've got to find a way to get some rest. And our stupid society that has no concept of village and puts dumb individualist ideas on a pedestal, like would say something like, oh, if you're a stay-at-home mom, you don't need help. You don't need a babysitter. You are the babysitter. And like does not understand that at no point in human history have women ever been the sole caretakers with like sole eyes on their kids for all day during the day, or like for working moms, it's like not having anyone else to help you through these tasks that you're doing. That's very unnatural in human history. And so a lot of moms think that what they're doing is just what people do and what people have always done. And so they accept lack of sleep as like, well, I must be a wimp. I mean, I must just be a whiner if I think that I'd like to not be woken up by chaos 5 times a night. And, I might like to occasionally get more than 2 uninterrupted hours of sleep. And I guess I'm just a bad person that I yearn for those things. No, that is, I mean, if you never feel like you get enough sleep, that's your only problem. Try to solve that first, and then just see what a different view you have on your problems after you solve the sleep issue. And again, I'd be the last person to tell you you'll realize that it's not even a problem. No, I don't mean that. I just mean that things will feel more doable, things will feel more solvable, and you'll probably end up hearing the voice of God a little better if you're not in a chronic fatigue spiral of fatigue. So that's my little public service announcement. So we had, yes, Google it and find out what the worst case scenario is and test for it if the symptom has been there for 2 weeks. And now we have don't think about your problems when you're tired. And as soon as I get to the main topic here in just a second, you'll have another little helpful phrase. Okay, so the last thing I want to bring up before we get to that. Okay, so Lucy, my third child, she's 18. She's been on this podcast a couple times. When I had my SiriusXM radio show, sometimes she would come on that, and she was always such a big hit. You guys love her. So I told you at the beginning that she was she is currently part of a school trip that's going to France and Belgium this week. So if you're hearing this on the day it comes out, she is in Europe right now. Please say a prayer that they have a nice trip. Now, normally, either my mom or I would help a kid get ready for that kind of trip. But because of some things that were going on with Lane at St. Jude's, we both had to stay some extra time. Also, my mom had... please say a prayer for the repose of the soul of my mom's friend, Tommy. My mom has a group of friends from college. She is 80 and they still do trips together and all that from college. I think that's so cool. But one of those gals passed away, unfortunately. So I had to stay in Memphis longer so that my mom could go to that funeral. That was a whole thing. So suffice it to say, the way the St. Jude's and other craziness schedule worked out, I did not get home until the day before Lucy was going to Europe. So all of the prep to travel internationally fell on Joe, but he's fighting all these other fires. Like, he just has other stuff to deal with, a bunch of other stuff. He's trying to keep up with everything that's on his plate. And he's not going to have the girly touches of like bringing more than one pair of clothes, that sort of thing. Like, Joe has, if you've ever listened to my stand-up comedy on YouTube, I have a whole stand-up playlist. I have a few clips of me talking about my husband and travel. It's all true. And so we definitely didn't want him to be any part of her packing situation. So Lucy did not have my help, and she didn't have my mom's help. So, and this relates to the main topic, but when I got home after a 10-hour drive, I was just like, I hope that you packed okay, 'cause I'm so tired. I was so tired. So I just thought, I hope that God helped you pack. And sure enough, she has a very sweet friend who came over and helped her get everything organized. Truly God sent. But we weren't as on top of things as I normally would have been and as I would have liked to have been. So Lucy we're about 10 minutes away from the airport. We live pretty far away from the airport. So at this point, we are fully 40 minutes away from home. you're right by the airport when you see the Tesla factory. There's a massive Tesla factory, and you're like, all right, we're there. Okay, so we're passing the massive, like as big as a city Tesla factory. And it was right when we were there that Lucy says, I forgot my shoes. Now, she was wearing Crocs to wear on the plane, but if you've ever done one of these European, it's kind of a pilgrimage because she goes to a Catholic school, so it's kind of a pilgrimage for high school students. It's a lot of walking, a lot, and these Crocs she has, they're shower shoes, Crocs, and she just wanted to wear these on the plane to be comfortable on the long flight. And what had happened was she planned to wear the comfortable walking shoes on the flight. At the last minute, she thought, oh, I'll wear my Crocs and then I'll just pack the comfortable walking shoes. She set them near the suitcase, but alas, not near enough. So we're Tesla factory gone. We are right by the airport. And she's like, I forgot my shoes. And I felt so bad for her. And I had this wave of guilt that's like, if I had been here, if I hadn't been so overwhelmed, maybe when I got back from the 10-hour drive, I should have just been like, open your suitcase, show me everything that's in it. Do you have this? I should have. Or I thought, why didn't I just send her a really thorough packing list from Memphis? I have a good packing list for when I tour. Like, why didn't I do that? I just had so much mom guilt. And so Lucy gets to Europe. I don't think she would mind me telling the story, but she's in a different time zone, so I don't have a way to ask her. So Lucy, sorry if you're not okay with me telling the story. So she gets to Europe. She's been awake for like 30 hours because of all the travel and stuff. She's trying to buy shoes on their first day around this town. She doesn't speak a word of French. And so she's trying to buy shoes, and she couldn't find any places that sold shoes. As part of that, she missed a meal that a bunch of her friends were having a meal. So she ended up just having to grab fast food. But I guess in Europe, they take your drinks, like the fountain drinks, and they put it in the bag. And I guess she thought that they had forgotten to give her the drink. And so she's carrying this food bag of stuff she plans to eat later. And she ran over to the store to look for shoes. The drink tipped over in the bag. The bottom fell out of the bag, and this huge drink splashes everywhere in this French store. And she was like, the puddle, it's like all consuming. It's like everywhere. What color do you think the liquid was? And it couldn't have been any other color with the way this is going for her.
I'm going with red.
No.
Brown?
Oh, well, that would be interesting. No. What's the word? Yellow.
Oh, what?
Looks like she peed herself. That's yellow
Okay,
pee.
my bad.
Yeah. Yellow. It's yellow. And so all of the, these French people are like, oui. Oh, probably literally, oui. Yeah. Oui, indeed. They're like, these Americans, what is wrong with them? And she's like about to cry. She's in her Crocs. She's in her shower Crocs. It looks like her bladder has just let loose. Oh, and now her food is gone because it fell on the floor. And then they still didn't have shoes. So these French people are like kind of annoyed. She did say a lot of people were very nice, or she doesn't know it. She doesn't speak French. Maybe they were talking trash about her. Right? She doesn't know. And she was just like about to start crying because then she still couldn't find the shoes. Okay, so then the other thing is, we because I was out of town and Joe had to deal with some passport stuff for her. We didn't get euros for her cash because one, we were hoping her debit card would work over there, but two, it's the bank has to order it. It takes a couple days. So because I am living in between two cities and I'm kind of overwhelmed, I'm managing a cancer battle here and Joe has all this stuff going on. We said, look, just do the exchange at the airport. Yes, their exchange rates are crazy, but this is another kind of Ivy League mentality thing that I think I picked up from Joe and his friends. They are very big on exchanging a little bit of money for time. Like they'll pay a little extra money if it frees up time and mental energy for them. So we're like, yeah, will it cost you some extra money to exchange these dollars at an airport, yeah. But I would pay someone $50 right now to deal with this. So like that, it's fine. Just do the airport exchange rate. But she couldn't, I don't know whether she didn't see the exchange thing at the airport or she didn't have time. Suffice it to say, she has all these American dollars that nobody is taking. She does not have euros. And so I just right before this podcast, I caught up with her and I was like, oh my gosh, also her debit card wasn't working. So I said, oh my gosh, you didn't have euros. I guess the group didn't take you by anywhere to exchange, to do dollar exchange. And she said, no. And I said, well, I bet a lot of the kids don't have euros either. And she was like, no, they all do. Yeah, no, everyone came with euros.
Poor Lucy.
And then she added, and she was just trying to, she did not mean anything by that, you guys. She actually said, she's like, well, all of the other kids on the trip have stay-at-home moms. Kill me now. Like, I lose. I'm telling you, like, everyone wins. I lose. And she said that in a very like charming, funny, sweet way. So today, they are doing, of course, or tomorrow, the big thing that they're doing is like walking up a mountain with stairs on it. I didn't know that France had mountains with stairs on them, but they do. And her Crocs, they don't have good tread on them. So she's like really having trouble on these cobblestone streets. And I was telling Lucy, I was like, man, just watch. I mean, the way things are going, just watch that it'll have like a bowling ball effect. If you fall down these stairs, you'll like take out the whole group with you, like going down the mountain. Oh, she said their tour guide is this really nice British guy. And just like me with the euros, like, well, I bet none of the kids had euros, right? Like, oh no, all of them. She was telling the tour guide that she forgot her walking shoes. And she was like, I mean, I bet you see stuff like this all the time. And he's like, no, I've been doing this 10 years and I've never seen anyone forget their walking shoes for a trip. So I'm feeling really good about life, guys, and about how my life is run. But but this is part of what I'm talking about is like, I'm living between two cities and I'm having a really hard time managing my life. And I am missing these pivotal years. And my 4 kids who are living at home, I am missing these pivotal years out of our lives. And I have the other mystery situation that you'll hear about in 2031. And I've got that going on. And we have a major, massive cancer battle going on. And yeah, Lucy is walking around Europe right now with very uncomfortable shower shoes, Crocs. I will say I got on Amazon FR and I tried to intersect, like I found the itinerary of what hotel they're going to be in. And I ordered, so each pair of shoes was $30. I ordered 3 pairs of shoes in 3 different sizes to be delivered to that hotel. I'm like, I don't care, $90. I would certainly pay $90 to make this situation go away. So this French hotel is going to be, they're going to have 3 big shoe boxes show up. So it'll be a couple days before she gets those. But God is outside of time. So please say a prayer that these shoes get to her. But I actually thought, I was like, do I have any fans over there? They're by Normandy. And I think that the Normandy chapter of Fulwiler Nation is still, it's growing. I think it has not built a lot of momentum yet. So, I mean, London's right over there. Could one of you guys, I have some fans in London. Maybe, one of you guys could hop on the tube or like, well, what is it that goes under?
I have no idea.
They have something and it goes under the English Channel. And I think that people can drive from London to France. And I think that one of you guys should do that and bring my daughter some shoes. That way, if it were in America, I'd be like, I definitely have some crazy fan out there who will show up at her hotel. She's on the way now. Caitlin, hit the special sound effect that we have designed for when I have a tangent. Okay, so this shoe situation, this is an unrelated comment, but I just wanted to say it reminds me. I have this dream. One day, this is unrelated to anything. One day, I want to do a stand-up show that is only Catholic inside jokes. And I mean for people who are deep in the Catholic ghetto. I don't mean like for Catholics, Catholics, like people who go to mass on Sunday. No, I mean the weird Catholics. I mean, like, in order to get into this show, I would require you to show me your phone, pull up the contacts, and type in the letters FR. And if I do not see it filled up with Father this, Father that, Father, FR period, like Father this, Father that, then you're tasered and you can't get it. We're like, you're a secret Protestant. We know it. And the reason that this is so important to me to do is because I have a joke. The shoeless thing made me think of this. I have a joke tag that is very amusing to me, but that nobody ever gets. So some of you guys have probably heard in my current set and some of the sets that I've done. Actually, this is in my Maternal Instinct comedy special, free on YouTube. If you'd like to watch it, just search for my name and Maternal Instinct. I tell a story of how when my kids were little, I often forgot their shoes. And so I would show up with shoeless kids at the grocery store, one time at mass, at other places where you really shouldn't have kids be shoeless. And so the audience is always rolling. They love these jokes. They have so much fun with these stories. And one time I added the tag, maybe I should just lean into it and start introducing ourselves to people as the discalced Fulwilers. The laughter stops immediately. And just like two guys in the back are, then they're rolling. They're like, that's a great line. Discalced is a word. It means shoeless, because some of our religious orders have taken vows of poverty that are so intense that they do not even own shoes. So, for example, the discalced Carmelites, they're the shoeless Carmelites. That's a funny tag. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a whole big punchline in and of itself, but you already have the audience rolling, and I'm like, we're just the discalced Fulwilers. Boy, there's a really fast way to kill a joke if you're not in front of the absolute most Catholic ghetto audience in the world. So that would be my Steubenville set. Somebody hire me to perform at the University of Steubenville, and that joke is going to kill, and that'll be the one place on earth where it will kill. So, so to end the Lucy story, I actually told Lucy, I said, it's Lent, and there are some orders like the discalced Carmelites and a couple of Franciscans that take vows of poverty so serious that they either don't have shoes or they intentionally wear very bare bones shoes that are not super comfortable. And I was kind of kidding. I was like, hey, you could just be, pretend that you're in a religious order and it's Lent. So that kind of fits. You guys, Lucy is such a sweet Catholic girl that she thought about it for a minute. And she said, no, Mom, you're right. That I like that. I will. It's Lent, and I'm just going to lean into it, and I'll just look at it as a penance. And yeah, I hope I don't take out everyone on those stairs going up that mountain like a bowling ball, just bang, 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 like French people flying up in the air as she rolls down the mountain. She was like, yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. But she is that sweet that she was like, okay. And on the way to the airport, she said, I just believe that God always has a plan for us, and that God brings good out of every situation. And so that's what I'll choose to believe here. Oh. I was like, we need a maternity test. I know that paternity tests are usually the norm. How is she related to me? I mean, that's crazy. What a crazy sweet take. I mean, that's just amazing. So please pray for sweet Lucy. I hope the little French delivery system says that the shoes will arrive on Tuesday. So this episode comes out on Wednesday. I'm so praying that by the time you hear this, one of the many pairs of shoes that I sent over to Lucy will work. I'm so praying for that, because again, she's been through a lot. She has been largely running this house in my absence, kind of taking over a mom role for her siblings. And she deserves to have just the best trip to Europe. And I so want that for her. So, so just say a prayer for that. Okay, so here's the main topic. It's actually not a super long one, but I do think, as with everything on this podcast, it could change your life. How is this podcast free? I mean, we cannot figure it out. So I'm driving back from Memphis. It's 10 hours. And I mean, honestly, the worst part of it is driving through Dallas. That is, I need to find a different way to go. I mean, that's a lot. But I do it all at once, and I only stop twice on the whole drive. So it's a lot of driving. And I'm sure most of you have done long drives like that. And especially when you're on your own, and nobody was with me for this one, it gives you a lot of time to think. And so in my case, that added to a lot of stress, but it also, you just get worn down from the road, from driving. It just, your stress accumulates with every hour that goes on of just, you're just tired. You've been behind the wheel. You need to be alert while you're behind the wheel. And Caitlin, I know you like driving a lot, but you've done some long drives. Do you? And you don't have to just agree with me. I'm actually genuinely curious. Do you feel that sense of like exhaustion, like you're about to collapse when you get close to the end of a long drive?
Oh yeah, like especially because we do like the 20-hour drives, the 3-hour mark. Like 3 hours before we get there, I'm gone. You've
done a 20-hour. Wait, is that the
Florida?
Really?
Yeah.
I knew it was long. I didn't know it was that long.
Yep.
And you do it with a car full of kids?
Sometimes with a dog too.
Oh, end the podcast now. I don't have any points. Because I was going to make some point about, I drove 10 hours in a silent car by myself. Caitlin, she has 4 little kids and a dog, and she's driving 20 hours. Never mind. I don't think I have anything to add here. No, that's amazing. It is true. The 3-hour mark. You're right. That you're close enough that your mind is starting to check out of this. Because when you have 8 hours left, it's like, well, this is never going to end. So I need to not think about it ending. But 3 hours, you're close enough. You're like, screw this. I want to be done with this. That's amazing, Caitlin. I'm always telling you guys, she is amazing. 20 hours.
Yeah.
So like if you left at noon one day, you would be there at 8 a.m. the next day?
Yes. But I wouldn't drive overnight.
Yeah, but still, okay. But still, so if you drive it... Well, wait, how do you do a 20-hour drive that's not overnight?
Usually I get up super early, like 5 a.m. And we usually get there by like 1-ish.
Oh, Caitlin, that's...
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this is, I mean, what other podcasts are you guys listening to that have a producer who could do that? None of them. Okay. Well, so never mind. I have my little useless drive that doesn't mean anything. Just me for 10 hours. But I did feel as I got close to home, I've been gone for a month. I've been on the road for 10 hours. And there were these two competing forces that combined to really send my stress level through the roof. One is because of the long drive and because I had been doing cancer mode for so long, I so needed to just be a blob as soon as I arrived. I so needed to just turn my brain off, check out, forget about everything, get in bed, not get out of bed for a really long time. But so all of that is because I haven't been home in a month. But then on the other side, because I haven't been home in a month, I need to be present for the kids. I need to sit with them. I need to chat with them. Also, Lucy was about to leave, and so I want to spend time with her. My stress was becoming physical. You know, we haven't talked about journal speak and how stress can become physical and cause physical symptoms in a while, but I believe in that as strongly as ever. I believe it was like October, November, I think, of 2023 when I talked quite a bit about that. If you want to look up those episodes. But I'm so glad I know about that, because I was actually starting to feel sick when I got close to home. But when I did my, obviously I can't journal driving in my car, but I just did the mental version of, okay, all right, just checking in here. I know that when you have thoughts and feelings that you are resisting because they feel forbidden, because maybe you feel like a good person wouldn't feel this way. This makes me terrible that I'm thinking this. A good Catholic or whatever wouldn't feel this way. When you are resisting thoughts for any reason, but especially if you're resisting them because they're quote unquote bad thoughts, very often those are going to translate into physical symptoms. So I was feeling nauseated. I was having just kind of random pains in my shoulder and my back, and I felt like I was just wilting, like my body was collapsing in on itself. And so I did my kind of journal speak inventory, and I just thought, okay, are there any feelings that I am stressed out about and that I am resisting because they're forbidden? And what I realized, I thought, in spades. And what it was is I was like, I can't hang out with a family right now. I can't. And that's, and stress that causes physical symptoms, it comes from conflict. Hit the super value adding tangent sound effect. This is a side point, but I do think it's worth going into. Interestingly, like when I'm at St. Jude's, a lot of times I don't have those physical symptoms of stress, what Dr. Sarno and Nicole Sachs would call TMS, because there's no conflict. It's just like, I hate this a lot. Sure do. I certainly feel like I have a right to hate this a lot. And, just this, not St. Jude's, but like just the circumstances and the battle and the cancer and all that. But when stress turns into physical symptoms, it's because of you feel conflicted. And I had a lot of very deep conflict driving up to my house. The closer I got, the sicker I felt. And that was the conflict. It was this feeling of, I'm so grateful for my family. I love them so much. You guys know, it's just everything. Like my children, everything. I don't just love them. I like them. I look forward to being around them. They're so cool. They're so interesting. So glad to see Joe. I really enjoy hanging out with him. Like all that. Love these people more than words could even describe. But I did not want to be around them. At that moment, I was like, I need the solitary confinement. I'm like, can I just drive to the local prison and get thrown in solitary confinement? Because I had nothing left to give. I was at a max level of stress. And while I was driving, I actually got out of physical pain by just letting those forbidden thoughts exist. Like, okay, you know what? I don't want to see them tonight. I don't. Or even like tomorrow morning, I want to not speak to anyone and I want to sleep for 24 hours straight. That is what I would like to do in a perfect world. And it makes me feel like I'm going to snap to, have to have like meaningful conversations right now. In general, that's one of my favorite things in life, to have great, awesome, fun moments with my family, but not right now. I can't have great, awesome, fun moments of any type right now because I'm tapped out. So here is the phrase that I mentioned an hour and 18 minutes ago, and I'm just now getting to. This podcast is like it's like a 10-course meal, just constant pleasures coming your way. And then we get to the final, there's probably some French word for it, the final good thing. Lucy can tell me. What you say to your family in those moments is, I love you, but I am at my limit. I love you, but I am at my limit. This might sound like a somewhat obvious solution, but a lot of times it doesn't come to us in the heat of the moment because you have so much guilt about the fact that this is supposed to be the special family time, and you're just not able to get there. And what ends up happening is we just get in such a spiral of stress that we're not thinking clearly, and we just kind of withdraw. And I think from our family's perspective, it just, we seem tense or maybe angry or like we're not fully present. It's just because if we're forcing ourselves to be part of something we're not ready for, or for those of us who recharge our batteries with solitude, maybe it's like, why did mom just walk off to her room again? Or if you're more of an extrovert, like, well, why, mom just got home. Why did she run off to go out with her friends? Whereas accepting those conflicting feelings and communicating them to your family is such a powerful thing, because it helps your family understand, A, you love them, you do want to be around them, but your nervous system is at its limit. Your nervous system is fried. And I wish I had this phrase in my lexicon years ago, because what would happen is what I just described. I would get in these spirals of guilt, like, oh, I have a free minute here because my mom stopped by or my mother-in-law stopped by. So I should use this time to read an extra book to one of the kids today. And instead I'd be like, no, I just want to go to my room. And then I'd start to get in pain. I'd have all these pain symptoms because of the conflicting thoughts. And you know what Dr. Sarno would say is TMS. And then I'd be like, oh, I have a headache. And I would just go up to my room. Whereas all of that could have been avoided if I had just said, gosh, I wish that I could stay down here and hang out a little more. It's such good vibes. You guys you're so fun. I would love to stay down here and have more fun with you guys. But listen, my nervous system is fried. I'm just tapped out. So let me go have a few moments and I'll come back when I can. For those of you who are not in a fried nervous system state, you're probably like, well, this is how this podcast is free, actually, because that's really obvious advice. But it doesn't come to you in the moment, because we tend to have such guilt about our families and like being a good Catholic and being a good parent and, you know, doing the right thing. That level of communication and just owning what's going on very often doesn't come to us in the moment. And that, just knowing that phrase, it got me out of pain on the drive back, because I thought, you know what? I'm just going to say that to my family. I'm going to give each one of them big hugs. I'm going to look them in the eye and say, I love you. I love you so much. I missed you. I'm so excited to be in the same house with you again. And you're not going to see me for about 18 hours because my nervous system is fried. I'm just at my limit, and I cannot wait once I recharge my batteries. I cannot wait to spend some time with you. That wouldn't have occurred to me. I don't know why, but it wouldn't have occurred to me to handle it like that years ago. And the great little bonus to this story is, because I gave myself permission to do what I needed to do if my nervous system was still just completely fried when I got in. Ironically, that actually helped me feel relaxed. And so I did end up, I spent almost 2 hours with the 4 kids who live at home. I was just relaxed in the living room, and we were laughing. We stayed up till almost 2:00 in the morning, and we were laughing and we were catching up, and it was so much fun. And ironically, it was because I was prepared to communicate to them that, as excited as I was to see them, I just couldn't. I could not, because I was prepared to make that move if I needed to. That relaxed me. I didn't feel so trapped. My fight or flight wasn't activated. That I actually did find the energy to do that. And it was a wonderful, awesome, fun, magical night. So that's the phrase that you're going to remember. I love you, but I am at my limit, and I will see you in just a little bit. Now, we're basically at the end of this podcast, but this is a little bonus for another episode. If you say, but Jen, I'm always at my limit. Like I'm never not at my limit. There might be things in your life, there might be help that you need that you're not asking for. And it could be you're not asking for it because like you don't see a way to get it. You're like, well, yeah, I'm broke and I need my 10 staff members. It's like Cardi B, I'm meant to be rich and famous. But there is power in acknowledging what help you really need, even if you don't see a way to get it right now. But we'll save that for a different episode sound effect. But just remember that phrase. I love you, but I am at my limit. And I will see you in a little bit. And next time you feel that physically painful for some of us conflict between like, I do love these people. I really do. But I am about to lose it. If I don't just get some time to just chill out, just remember that and just watch how your nervous system relaxes when you give yourself permission to use that phrase. Okay. We're rolling straight into the Patreon after party, where I will tell you what happened. So dumb. Patreon.com/This Is Jen. The next episode, I think, will also be from here from home, and then I will be back in Memphis. Always good to be in my home studio, and we will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.